Hi there, I'm Rick Hirsch, and I am your grandfather, Baby Cole, and I'm making this video because your dad asked me to help him out on some rules of some sports games that I used to play, and I hope you enjoy this. I hope you pass it on to your son, and he passes it on to his son. Well, I grew up in this little place called Flushing, New York. Not such a little place, actually part of Queens, which is part of the 5 boroughs of New York City. And we didn't have computers, and we didn't have iPads and iPods, and we didn't have all of the things that you may have now that I don't even know about. So we played games outside. We played games like stickball and stoop ball and handball and ringalerio and scaling baseball cards and flipping baseball cards. And I'm going to try and teach you about all of these things. So this is the first in a series of many videos that I'll play for you and I'll make for you so you can see what I did when I was a kid. Okay, today's video number 1 is going to be about the difference between scaling baseball cards and flipping baseball cards. The first thing I'm going to be teaching you today is about scaling baseball cards. Scaling baseball cards is essentially getting about 10 feet away from a wall, and that should be a brick wall in a schoolyard if possible, but for today's purposes I'm going to do it inside. Getting down on one knee and scaling that baseball card just like you would scale a frisbee. However, before we get into the actual art of scaling a baseball card, you have to understand which card you might pick. So if you're a New York Yankees fan and you love your Yankees, you might pick Roger Maris or Mickey Mantle, and the other guy might be a Boston fan. He might like Carl Yastrzemski, or if he's from Minnesota, he might like Harmon Killebrew, and we might go up against each other with our favorite player. If not, we might just pick any old card like maybe who's this guy? Bobby Bonilla card from the Pirates, and then he picks some crummy or crappy cards that he's got too. So you would never put a really great card like your Mickey Mantle card against his really crappy card, Bobby Bonilla. So either 2 crappy cards or 2 really good cards if you want to try and get his card away from him. Our goal, by the way, was to complete a full set of our favorite team. So we might have to put a Mickey Mantle card up against something that he really likes if we're missing one of the things that he really likes to complete our whole box. So here's how it goes. We get down on one knee. Oh, I forgot about a very important point. The goal of scaling baseball cards is get your card closer to the wall than the other guy. Ultimately, a leaner would be the best, but that's really hard to get. But if his card ends up here and my card ends up here, I win. If his card ends up here and my card ends up on top of him, he wins. Which brings in a very important point. It's called Larry's. Larry's is a very little known point and rule of the game that was played only in Flushing, New York. Flushing, New York, as you can see, that's where I grew up. Larry's gives you the ability not to go first, but to go second. Because as you can see, there's a great advantage to going second, because if he ends up with a leaner, and I knock him down, I win. So you want to go second, and the way that you get to go second is say Larry's before he says Larry's. So let's say we're getting ready to go Larry's. That means I go second, so let's say I'm the guy going first. We've decided we don't care about these cards, just a couple of random cards we're going to scale. We step about 10 feet away from the wall, and we scale it. Not bad for a first. And then the second guy would go, and we'd come up and see who the winner is. Clearly, this guy wins. He gets both the cards. And that's called scaling baseball cards. Now, Jason also asked me about your dad, also asked me the difference between that and flipping baseball cards. Flipping baseball cards essentially starts the same way. One guy calls Larry's to give himself the advantage. That means he goes second. And then we flip our cards from about waist high, just like that. Now, how do you know who wins? You know who wins because the person who's going to go first has the right to say match or no match. If the front of the cards match, he gets both the cards. If he said match, if it's front and the back, the other guy gets the cards. It goes like this. Larry's, that means I go second. I'm going to say match. So the other guy goes. It's a front. I'm going to try and match it. So I'm going to go front to front because that's usually my best bet. A back. Other guy wins because he said match. That's called flipping cards. Now, Cole, when you get a little older and your mom has thrown away all your baseball cards because she didn't think you cared about them anymore, don't let her do that. And you work in a factory in Long Island City, and you wear your Yankees shirt to work every day, and you're all dirty and grungy, working in that factory. By the way, what Grandpa used to do is all day long I would have to put plastic on top of women's clothes in this factory. That's what I did for 8 hours a day. But at break time, we'd go outside, and all the Puerto Rican guys would be outside. And we took the next level to scaling baseball cards, which was scaling money. Rules are exactly the same, except no Larrys. Whoever goes first in this one. Usually the bigger guy. You stand back about 10 feet, you take your quarter, you throw it against the wall. Not a very good throw. Second guy goes, takes his quarter, throws against the wall. That's a win for the second guy, takes his 2 quarters and he plays again. That's called scaling money. Cole, there are a million uses for baseball cards. I bet your dad doesn't even know about this one. But you take a clothespin. You clothespin that card to the front or the back wheel of your bike, and your bike turns into a motorcycle. The more you put, the louder it gets. I love you. Next time, stoop ball!